Hey you guys, I'm so excited. Today I'll be reviewing the longer B1 40 watts diode laser. Now I've already reviewed a few other longer lasers in the past. If you remember, I reviewed the Ray 5 10 watts and the longer B1 30 watts. And they sent me the 40 watts now, and I will talk about it today. And also they sent me their infrared laser module, and I have not tested that one yet, but that one is coming soon. Two exciting news. One of them, this is gonna be my first ever giveaway on this channel. You can win this exact laser. I will be giving it away to one of you guys. To enter for this, all you have to do is comment, like, and subscribe. And for the comments, please don't just put a thumbs up or a smiley face. Write something in there, ask a question about the laser, or maybe tell me what kind of woodworking you're doing or what would you like to use this laser for. So giveaway, I will be contacting the winner on the very last day of February. So very last day of February, I will contact one person and I will be sending this laser. Now, in order to prevent any kind of scamming, as it happened to other channels with giveaways where people are impersonating the YouTubers and ask for shipping money and so on, I will not ask for any money. So if somebody contacts you and says, hey, this is Skylar Ewing, you want the laser, please send me the money for shipping, I would never do that. I will ship this, I will pay the shipping, I would never ask you for money. So one person will be winning this 40 watts laser, and also I will be sending that person the infrared laser once I test it. I still need it for review, but then I should be having it done by then, and then I will give it to one of you guys. Now, the second good news is that Longer is running some amazing sales right now until the end of the month. That is the end of January. And really, really big savings. If you do decide to purchase a laser, please do use my link in the description below. It is an affiliate link. That means to no extra cost to you, I will earn a small commission. And the sales are amazing. I think for this 40 watt laser, they are right now they're on sale for $12.90. I wrote it down somewhere. $12.99. So amazing deal for a 40 watt diode laser. Now, before I show you around the laser and talk about it and talk some specs and so on, I want to show you some projects I've been doing with this laser, because every time I get a new laser, I like to really test it for a few weeks. And I was so lucky that the weather has been really, really nice. So I was able to open my garage doors and do my engraving outside on the driveway. Even though it's winter, it was in the 35, 37 degrees, but sunny. So laser operated perfectly in that conditions. I do not recommend working outside in the winter, but I do not have an enclosure for this laser, and I'm not going to purchase one because, well, I will be giving away this laser. And during the summer, I used to review a lot of open frame lasers, and that was okay because I would have both of the garage doors open and I had a big fan blowing all the smoke out. But now it's winter and we just had a big storm too, and now we have lots of snow and the temperature dropped into, teens, and it's really cold, and it's not so easy to work with the open frame lasers when it's really cold and you cannot do it outside or with the garage doors open. But I've done lots of projects while the weather was nice, and I want to share with you a couple of them. So let's see. First of all, if you are new to this channel and you have no idea who I am, my name is Skylar Ewing, and I do a lot of boxes and cutting boards and small projects. And I have reviewed lots of lasers in the past. I've worked with lots of lasers, and I don't like to make those things that you make with 3mm plywood that you typically think of when you think of lasers. There's nothing wrong with that. There's lots of people that make a living out of, tiny plywood boxes and bookmarks and jewelries, and there's so much you can do, leather patches and so on. But that is not me. What I do boxes, I work with hardwoods, I like to work with exotic woods, and I'm gonna show you some of the projects that I've made with this exact laser. So here is a box that I made. It's walnut and maple. It is not finished. I still have to finish sanding, but I want to show you that I've made an inlay. So here is the inlay, very, very nicely done. The laser did a wonderful, wonderful job. So this is the kind of thing that I do with the laser, and mainly for inlays. That's, I think it's fantastic for that and can really elevate your woodworking skills. If you look at you know, this box, it's a very simple box. There's nothing fancy about it, but by putting an inlay on the top, it just makes it super, super special. And let me just spritz it with a little bit of water so you can see, because it doesn't have a finish on it. But I want you to see how cool it looks. And of course, it needs more sanding and so on. But let's see. Look at that. It really stands out, the walnut against the maple. So that's one inlay I did with it. And for this particular inlay, normally you would do an offset when you cut the pieces that goes into the hole that you made with the laser. But for this one, I didn't. I just cut it the same size, and there's really no gaps in there. It looks just beautiful. So that is one box that I made with this laser while I was testing it out. Here is another one. This is rosewood and maple, and different inlay. And this is not two pieces of wood cut and just replace the wood. This is actually a pocket. I dip engraved this lotus flower, and then I cut it, the pieces, and I put them in there. The box is not finished. Again, let me just spritz it with a little bit of water. This is a curly maple and a rosewood. And you can see when it will have the finish on it, it will look really, really nice. So that is the box of rosewood with maple. It is not finished. Like I said, I still have to finish sanding it and put a finish on it. The next inlay I made, another unfinished box, and this one you can see I cut the grooves for the splines, but I didn't finish it, so I have to put the splines on. And here I did this kind of honeycomb grid, and that is an inlay as well. And you see, just a simple box, it just makes it look so cool when you add an inlay. Moving on, this is a little bit different. I did an inlay, and this time I made the pocket for the inlay and I filled it with epoxy. Let me just spritz this one with some water as well, just so you can see that blue epoxy onto the white maple. It really makes it beautiful. And you cannot do this without a laser. It's gonna look even prettier once I finish sanding it and put a finish on it. But for now, this is just a little bit of water just to get it so you can see how nice these inlays are. So that is with epoxy. Made a pocket. I cut the grooves for the splines. I still have to put the splines. I have to finish sanding it and so on. Here is another inlay with epoxy. Give it a little bit of water. You see, it's just one piece of wood. I cut the deep pocket, filled it with epoxy. That is what it looks like. I still have to make a box for this one. This is just, you know, while I was testing. I played around with different designs. You know, this is all just little tests that I did. More epoxy. I did this really cool epoxy, like optical illusion. I was planning on making that maybe into a lid of a box. Here is another one where I did an inlay. And this one needs to make a box for it too. This is the piece that I cut the wood for this inlay. You see I cut it out of this ambrosia maple. And as you can see, the cuts are very, very clean. No charring, nothing weird. I cut it clean, and then here it is into this walnut. I still need to give it more sanding and put a finish on it. So I did that. What else do I have in here? Oh, I'm gonna show you something else. I did this other inlays. Oh, I tried to make these birds. I think it will look cool once it has the finish on it. I used canary wood for the birds and the branch, and then it's on walnut. But then I did this epoxy inlays. And what I did here is I took some 1/8 millimeter walnut, and I cut the design, and then this is just cutting through all the way from one side to another. You see my finger going through it. I wanted to get this kind of like stained glass effect. And I've tried it on a few different pieces. You see here, this one doesn't have any finish on it. This one has one coat of shellac, although it needs more sanding. I just wanted to see what it looks like. And what I did, I lasered cut this flower out of here, and then I put tape, packing tape on one side, make sure it's really sealed. And then I poured epoxy on it, let it dry, sand it, and now we have this cool stained glass effect. So really, really cool. There's one and there's another. This one, like I said, does not have the finish on it, but you can see through it. And I used blue just because I mixed a big batch of epoxy that was blue, and that's what I had, but you can do all kinds of colors. Now, those are the inlays I've done with this machine. When it comes to engraving, oh, I've done this other inlay, but this one was not so successful. I decided to put gold in the inlay, and my gold was just not bright enough, so it's just kind of boring now with the walnut. So I think that one was a fail. For the engraving, I know you guys all loved this Nightmare Before Christmas. I've done this one, this particular one, I've done it with a different laser a long time ago before Christmas. And I took this design and wanted to engrave it again for a new box. And I started the engraving and it was a little bit too dark. So then I tried it again. And there's the engraving that I end up from this laser. Now this one, it's not finished, but as you can see, a lot of really good detailed, even though it's a 40-watt laser. And I always thought that the 40 watts lasers, they don't give you that much detail because they have a bigger laser spot. But it turns out you can get good details with a good laser. My X Tool S1 and this laser, amazing details, even though they are both 40 watts. So if you find a company that tells you our laser is not giving details because it's 40 watts, that's not the reason. You can do a lot of details, as you can see on this one. Now this one, of course, once you put a finish, you will see it will stand out a lot more, become more contrasty. I'm just going to spritz it with some water, but that makes a difference. And the one that I have here on the box was done exactly like this on maple, just like this one. This box is walnut, but then the lid, I did it on maple. That way the ghost stays white, and I use some stain and darken the outside. You can kind of see from this other one that I tested, but this one I didn't like the way I stained it. You see it's still on maple, and I engraved it. Nice detail engraving. But then I think I went a little bit too brown with the stain, and I wanted more black like this one. So I might have to do more work on this, or just ditch it and just do this one more black, less brown. So really, really good engraving. I have another engraving I did here. Another file that I've tested with many lasers in the past, and this one also really amazing, lots of detailed, very dark, really, really good engraving from this laser, which I expected. All of their lasers that I tested before, even the cheapest one, the Ray 5, I think it was like a $300 laser, amazing engraving, so I expected nothing less, and they did not disappoint. Cutting capabilities, well, cuts just as a 40-watt will do, has lots of cutting power. You can cut 1/4 inch hardwood, 1/2 inch hardwood with absolutely zero problems. I hope you can see from there. Here is the longer machine. And if you're not familiar with the difference between the Ray 5 and the B1, the Ray 5, the frame, it's a lot thinner and not as sturdy as the B1. The B1 is really a beefy, strong frame, and it goes together really, really easily. Basically took almost no time to put together. Very clear instructions. There are also lots of instructions online. The honeycomb grid did not come with it. So this one I had it from a different laser, but it did come with an air assist. This is a smart air assist. That means you can control it directly from Lightburn. Now about the cutting capabilities for this laser, it will cut 40mm basswood and it will cut 50mm acrylic. Now when we're talking acrylic, diode laser, they cannot cut through clear acrylic. It has to be black or red or some other color, but you cannot cut clear acrylic, and that's for all diode laser, not just this one. The working surface for this laser is 450mm by 440, so plenty of workspace. Actually, I've never used more than about this much, so you don't need that much. But if you make big signs or something, that you might need a space. And the fact that it's an open frame diode laser, that means you can also raise it up if you need to, put it on wooden blocks, and you can fit thicker material underneath and move it through and so on. The max speed for this laser is 36,000 millimeter per minute, so pretty fast laser. I've never had to use it at that kind of speed. It has 8 major safety protection, you know, all those stuff that most lasers these days have it from, you know, it stops if the table wobbles or, you know, moves. It detects flame. It has the emergency stop button. It has the key. Everybody wonders, why do you need a key for the laser? Well, that's important if you leave your laser plugged in and you have little children and they might come and push buttons. You do not want them to start the laser while you're not there. Bad things will happen. This laser does have limit switches, the X and Y axis, they have limit switches, and that is a total lifesaver. That's another big bonus from having the B1 versus the Ray 5. Now this laser, you can use it via Wi-Fi. You can also use it with the TF card. It has a TF card reader over here. It comes with a TF card. You can also use it with a USB cable, and this is my preferred method. I just plug it into my computer, and that way I don't ever have to worry about, you know, losing internet and my project stopping midway and so on. So you can use a Wi-Fi, TF card, USB, or you can use it through an app on your phone. I have never tried that. I didn't even download the app, and I don't know if it's good or not. If you have tried it, please let me know in the comments below. Now, when it comes to settings, I thought, since I've used many 40-watt lasers before, and I have my X-Tool S1 that I use every day in my shop, I figured the settings is probably just about the same. Boy, was I wrong. This one seems to burn hotter. So that means for my 40-watt S1 for engraving something like this, like an inlay frame like this, I would normally use it at power 100, speed 50. That's what I use my S1 for, which is the same 40 watts as this one it is. So I tried the same settings on a piece of walnut, and boy, it burned right through it. So then I increased the speed. I moved it from speed 50 to speed 100, still at 100 power, and it still burned through it. Not as much, but still burned through it. So I decreased the power a lot. I was running out of blanks here, so then I did this one on maple. I forgot to write down what my settings were, but I think I double it, or like 300 or something for speed. And then I was able to successfully get this one over here. So it does seem to run a little bit hot. Now I wish I had more footage for you, me using the machine, and I was planning on doing live demonstrations as I'm doing the review, showing you exactly how I set everything in Liburn, how I do the offset for inlays and so on. But we had a big winter storm. There's lots of snow outside, and like I said, the temperature dropped into the teens, and I cannot open my garage doors because I would be freezing here, and I don't think my computer or the laser would love that kind of really cold temperature. So I have very little amount of footage that I did while the weather was still nice, but you saw all the projects I've done with this laser, and I think that should give you a really good idea on the things you can do with a 40-watt diode laser. One other thing that I believe is really important when you're looking on which brand of laser to buy is customer service. And I looked at this at every single company I work with, and I can tell you Longer has some of the best customer service. I always, like, you know, most companies, they're really nice to me as they're sending me the things for review. But I always read the comments that you guys leave down below the videos, And if you read the comments from my review of the B1 30 watts, you will see that someone had a problem with the laser and Longer sent them a brand new one. So customer service is there and it's great, and they're really nice to work with. And even if you buy an excellent laser, I guarantee you there will be times where you will need to reach customer service. So before you invest into one company that you want to be with for your lasers, please look at the customer service because it's a big one. Now the frame is pretty much identical with the B1 30 watts, but the laser module, it is bigger and it is 40 watts. Now when it comes to focusing, let me turn it around so you can see better what's happening. It has these two screws over here that you loosen up, and then it has this little foot over here that you flip down. Make sure that that is on top of your material. Tighten the screws and then lift up the little foot. Pretty typical for diode lasers. Cable management, it's not the best I've ever seen, but it's great. Nothing seems to stay in the way. Everything works as it should. It is smooth. It's just a high quality laser. I don't know what else to say about it. I am very happy with the way it works and everything is looking great. I hope this was useful to you and you learned something new. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Skylar Ewing and I'll see you in my next video.